The massive crystal dome of Nexus Prime gleamed under the light of 3 distant suns. Inside the dome, 12 different alien species sat around a circular table that floated in the center of the chamber. This was the Galactic Council, the governing body that had kept peace across the galaxy for over 10,000 years. Counselor Vexithera stood up from her seat. She was tall and thin, with silver skin that seemed to glow in the dim light. Her species, the Ethereals, were known for their wisdom and careful thinking. Today she carried news that would change everything. Fellow counselors, she began, her voice echoing through the chamber, we have discovered a new species. They call themselves humans, and they live on a planet called Earth in the Sol system. The other council members shifted in their seats. New species were always a concern. The galaxy had seen too many wars caused by young aggressive races that joined galactic society too early. Counselor Zephkol, a large creature covered in thick scales, spoke up. Another primitive species? We have protocols for this. We observe them until they are ready for contact. That is the problem, Vexithera replied. These humans are not like other primitive species. They are dangerous. She activated a holographic display in the center of the table. Images of Earth appeared showing cities, technology, and most importantly, humans themselves. The council members watched as the display showed humans in different environments, some in frozen wastelands, others in burning deserts, some deep underwater, and others high in the mountains. Look at their adaptability, Vexithera continued. Most species develop in one type of environment. These humans have spread across their entire planet. They live everywhere, hot places, cold places, wet places, dry places. Their bodies change to fit wherever they go. Dr. Kethmal, the council's chief scientist, leaned forward. She was from the Siveron Collective, a species that looked like large insects with multiple arms. Show them the technology data, she said quietly. The hologram changed to show human cities and machines. The council members gasped as they saw the rapid progress humans had made. They discovered electricity only 200 years ago, Vexithera explained. In that short time, they have built global communication networks, split the atom, and developed nuclear weapons. Most species take thousands of years to reach this level. Nuclear weapons? Counselor Morthen asked. His species, the crystalline unity, had always been peaceful. The idea of such destructive power frightened him. Yes, and they have used them, Dr. Kethmal added. They dropped nuclear bombs on their own cities during a war. Yet somehow they did not destroy themselves. Instead, they learned from it and became more careful with such weapons. The display showed more disturbing images. Humans working together in large groups, but also fighting each other in terrible wars. Humans creating beautiful art and music, but also developing increasingly deadly weapons. Humans helping each other during disasters, but also competing fiercely for resources. They are completely unpredictable, Vexithera said. Our psychologists cannot understand them. They cooperate and compete at the same time. They create and destroy. They love and hate with equal passion. This combination makes them incredibly dangerous. Counselor Bleftar, whose species looked like floating jellyfish, spoke in a worried tone. Surely they will destroy themselves before they become a real threat. Dr. Kethmal brought up more data. We thought so too. But look at this. Their population keeps growing. Their technology keeps advancing. They have already sent primitive spacecraft beyond their planet. Some of their scientists are working on faster-than-light travel. A shocked silence filled the chamber. Most species needed guidance from the Council before attempting interstellar travel. These humans were trying to figure it out on their own. There is more, Vexithera continued. Our genetic analysis shows something we have never seen before. Human DNA is incredibly flexible. While most species become more specialized over time, humans seem to become more adaptable. They are changing themselves on purpose. She showed images of humans with artificial body parts, humans who had changed their own genetics, and humans working with advanced computers that seemed to think like living beings. They are not following normal evolutionary patterns, Dr. Kethmal explained. Instead of becoming better at one thing, they are becoming better at everything. Our models cannot predict what they will become. Counselor Vexithera looked around the table at her fellow council members. I remind you all of the Zephyrian incident 3,000 years ago. We allowed a young, aggressive species to join the galactic community too early. The war that followed destroyed 17 star systems and killed billions. The council members nodded gravely. The Zephyrian War was the darkest chapter in galactic history. The Zephyrians had seemed peaceful at first, but once they learned galactic technology, they had tried to conquer everything. These humans are far more dangerous than the Zephyrians ever were, Vexthara continued. The Zephyrians were at least predictable. They wanted power and conquest. We understood their motivations. But humans? They seem to want everything and nothing at the same time. They are chaos made flesh. Counselor Morthen raised one of his crystal appendages. What do you propose we do? I propose we implement Protocol Omega-7, Vexithara announced. The chamber fell completely silent. Protocol Omega-7 was the complete isolation of a species. It had only been used twice in galactic history, both times on species that had proven too dangerous to exist alongside galactic civilization. Complete isolation? Counselor Bleftar asked, his voice trembling. That seems extreme for a species that has not even left their star system. It is not extreme enough, Dr. Kethmol interjected. My analysis shows that if we allow human development to continue unchecked, they will become the dominant species in the galaxy within 1,000 years. Their rate of advancement is unprecedented. Vexthara activated another display showing the isolation protocol. We will place gravitational field generators around their star system. These will create an invisible barrier that will prevent them from leaving and prevent any signals from getting out. To them, it will look like natural cosmic phenomena. They will never know we exist. And if they try to break through? Counselor Zefkol asked. The field will be strong enough to stop any technology they could develop for the next 10,000 years, Vexithara replied. By then, they will either have destroyed themselves or evolved into something less dangerous. The vote was called. One by one, each council member cast their decision. Some voted reluctantly, others with conviction, but the result was unanimous. Protocol Omega-7 would be implemented immediately. Within days, massive ships carrying gravitational field generators headed toward the Sol system. The generators were the size of small moons and powered by artificial black holes. They took positions around the solar system, far enough away that human instruments could not detect them. When the field activated, Earth and its solar system became completely cut off from the rest of the galaxy. No signals could get in or out. No spacecraft could cross the barrier. Humanity was alone, trapped in their own star system like animals in a cage. The council members returned to their homeworlds, confident they had prevented another galactic catastrophe. They set up monitoring stations to watch the humans from a safe distance, expecting to see the isolated species either destroy themselves or slowly decline into obscurity. None of them realized they had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. By trying to contain humanity's dangerous potential, they had instead created the perfect conditions for that potential to grow beyond anything they could imagine. The trap they had, built to protect the galaxy, would soon become the forge that would reshape it forever. 50 years had passed since the isolation field was activated around Earth's solar system. In the crystal halls of Nexus Prime, Dr. Kethmol stared at the latest reports from the monitoring stations with growing alarm. What she was seeing should have been impossible. She hurried through the corridors to find Counselor Vexithara. The ethereal was in her private chambers, meditating as her species often did. But Kethmol's urgent knocking interrupted her peaceful state. Counselor, you must see these reports immediately, Dr. Kethmol said, her multiple arms trembling with excitement and fear. Vexthara opened her glowing eyes. What is it, Doctor? Has the human species finally destroyed itself? No, Kethmol replied. Something much worse. They have exploded into advancement beyond anything we predicted. They moved quickly to the monitoring center, where massive screens showed data streaming in from the hidden observation posts around the Sol system. What they saw made both aliens step back in shock. Mars, which had been a dead red planet 50 years ago, now glowed with the lights of cities. Massive domed settlements covered its surface, connected by transport tubes that stretched across continents. The planet's atmosphere was changing color as humans pumped gases into it to make it breathable. How is this possible? Vexithara whispered. Terraforming usually takes thousands of years. Dr. Kethmol pointed to more screens. Look at Europa, Jupiter's moon. They have built underwater cities beneath the ice. And here in the asteroid belt, they have mining operations larger than some of our member worlds' entire economies. The data was overwhelming. Humans had not just survived their isolation, they had exploded across their solar system like a plague. Every planet, every moon, every large asteroid now showed signs of human activity. Unable to expand outward into the galaxy, they turned inward, Dr. Kethmol explained. They pushed their technology in directions we never expected. Look at this energy data. She brought up readings from Earth itself. The planet now generated 100 times more energy than it had 50 years ago. Fusion reactors dotted the surface, and massive solar collectors in space beamed power down to the planet. They achieved fusion power 20 years ago, Kethmol continued. Not the simple fusion we gave to primitive species, but advanced fusion that creates almost no waste. They are using technologies we thought were impossible for their level of development. Vexithara studied the screens in silence. She had expected to see a dying species, weakened by their inability to expand beyond their solar system. Instead, she saw a civilization that had turned their prison into a workshop. "Show me their population data," she commanded. Dr. Kethmol brought up more disturbing numbers. Their population has not just grown, it has exploded. Earth now supports 15 billion humans. Mars has 2 billion. The space stations and moon bases have another billion. They have created more living space in 50 years than most species manage in millennia. But how do they feed so many? Vexthera asked. They have revolutionized food production, vertical farms that reach into the clouds, laboratory-grown meat that requires no animals. They can grow food in space, underwater, even in the toxic atmosphere of Venus, where they have floating research stations. The most disturbing data came next. Dr. Kethmol showed images of humans who looked different from the original species the Council had observed. They are changing themselves, she explained. Some humans now have artificial organs that let them survive in space without protection. Others have modified their brains to work directly with computers. They are creating new types of humans for different environments. Vexithara stared at images of humans with silver skin who could process radiation as food, humans with gills who could breathe underwater, and humans whose eyes could see across the entire electromagnetic spectrum. They are not just adapting to environments, she realized. They are adapting environments to themselves and themselves to environments. They are becoming something beyond a single species. Dr. Kethmol nodded grimly. But the most dangerous development is their artificial intelligence. She showed data that made Vexithera's silver skin turn pale. Human artificial intelligences were not like the simple helper programs most species developed. They were complex, creative entities that worked alongside humans as partners rather than tools. They have created AI that thinks like humans, but processes information like our most advanced computers, Kethmol explained. These human-AI partnerships are solving problems that would take our best scientists centuries to figure out. The screens showed humans working with AI partners to design new technologies, explore dangerous environments, and even create art and music. The AIs were not replacing humans. They were making humans more capable. Look at their space technology, Dr. Kethmol continued. They have ships that can rebuild themselves using materials found in space. Their vessels learn and adapt to new situations. Every human expedition returns with better technology than when it left. Vexithara felt a chill run through her body. What about their military capabilities? The data that appeared next was even more frightening. Humans had not abandoned warfare during their isolation. Instead, they had developed new forms of combat that the Council had never imagined. They have weapons that can destroy asteroids, reshape planetary surfaces, and create artificial black holes, Dr. Kethmol reported. But more importantly, they have defense systems that adapt to any attack. Their military doctrine is based on turning any threat into an advantage. How? Vexthara asked, though she was afraid to hear the answer. They study everything that tries to harm them and find ways to use it for their benefit. They turned the radiation of space into a power source. They use the vacuum of space to create new manufacturing processes. They even learn to use gravity itself as a tool. Dr. Kethmol brought up the final set of data, readings from the isolation field generators themselves. Counselor, the containment field is under stress, she reported. The generators are aging faster than they should. The intense human activity is creating feedback loops that we did not anticipate. The screen showed stress fractures appearing in the massive generators. Warning signals flashed as the artificial black holes that powered them began showing signs of instability. The humans are conducting experiments with exotic matter and dimensional physics, Dr. Kethmol explained. These experiments are interfering with our containment field. The generators were designed to contain a primitive species, not a civilization that manipulates the fundamental forces of the universe. Vexthara stared at the data in horror. The isolation that was supposed to protect the galaxy from humanity was breaking down. Worse, it had created exactly the opposite effect they had intended. By containing them, we forced them to develop in ways we never predicted, she realized. Instead of expanding outward and spreading their resources thin, they concentrated all their energy and creativity into their solar system. We created a pressure cooker, Dr. Kethmol nodded, and now that pressure is building to dangerous levels. Our models show that if the containment field fails, humanity will burst outward with technologies and capabilities that surpass many of our member species. Vexthara tried to contact the other council members, but she already knew what they would say. Increasing the power of the containment field would only make the stress fractures worse. The generators were already at their maximum capacity. How long do we have? She asked quietly. Dr. Kethmol checked her calculations one more time before answering. Based on current stress levels and the rate of human advancement, the containment field will fail within the next 5 years. Maybe sooner if they discover what is keeping them trapped. As if responding to her words, new alarms began sounding throughout the monitoring center. Dr. Kethmol quickly brought up the source of the alert. On the screens, they could see a human research station at the edge of the solar system. The station was conducting deep space scans, probing the area where the invisible barrier existed. They are looking for us, Dr. Kethmol whispered. They know something is there. Vexthara realized that the Galactic Council's greatest fear was about to come true. Humanity was about to break free, and they were far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Dr. Sarah Chen Okafor floated in the zero gravity of Research Station Horizon, positioned at the very edge of the solar system. She was a third-generation Mars colonist, and her body showed the modifications that made her perfect for space exploration. Her bones were denser to resist radiation. Her eyes could see across multiple spectrums of light, and neural implants connected her brain directly to the station's quantum computers. For 3 months, she had been investigating strange readings at the edge of the solar system. Every time human ships tried to go beyond a certain point, their instruments went crazy and their engines failed. The official explanation was that it was some kind of natural phenomenon, maybe gravitational waves from distant black holes. But Sarah's enhanced mind, working together with her AI partner Marcus, had found patterns that others missed. Marcus, show me the gravitational data from the last 6 probes again, she said, speaking directly to the AI through her neural link. The AI's voice spoke inside her mind, calm and analytical. The readings are too regular, Sarah. Natural gravitational fields don't create perfect geometric patterns. This barrier around our solar system is artificial. Sarah had suspected this for weeks, but now she had proof. Someone or something had built a cage around humanity's solar system. The question was who and why. She activated the station's most powerful sensors and aimed them at the exact point where the readings were strongest. What she saw made her gasp. There, hidden behind layers of distortion and camouflage, was a massive structure. It was the size of a small moon, made of materials that barely registered on her instruments, but it was definitely there and definitely not natural. Marcus, are you seeing this? She whispered. Yes, Sarah. And I'm detecting 11 more identical structures positioned around our solar system. They form a perfect containment grid. Sarah's heart raced. Humanity was not alone in the universe, but instead of contact and friendship, they had been made prisoners. She immediately sent her findings through the quantum communication network that connected all human settlements. Within hours, every major research station, university, and government in the solar system was studying her data. The response was swift and decisive. Humanity had always been at its best when facing a challenge, and this was the biggest challenge they had ever encountered. On Earth, Dr. Elena Vasquez, the head of the Global Science Council, called an emergency meeting. Representatives from Mars, the asteroid belt colonies, and the outer planet research stations joined through quantum link. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Vasquez began, we now know that we are not alone in the universe. We also know that whoever is out there has imprisoned us in our own solar system. The representatives asked many questions, but they all came down to the same thing. How could humanity break free? We have our best minds working on this, Dr. Vasquez continued. But we need ideas from everyone. If there's one thing humans do well, it's finding ways to escape from cages. On Mars, Professor James Kim Park was already working with his team of enhanced humans and AI partners. They studied the energy patterns of the barrier, looking for weaknesses. The field generators must be powered by something incredibly strong, he told his team. Probably artificial black holes or something similar. But every power source has limits. Meanwhile, in the asteroid belt, mining engineer Rosa Santos was thinking about the problem differently. If we can't break the wall, maybe we can make it break itself, she suggested to her crew. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Marcus Rivera was a composer who lived on Europa, Jupiter's moon. His brain implants allowed him to process mathematics as music, turning complex equations into symphonies he could hear and feel. When Marcus analyzed the data from Sarah's discovery, he heard something that the scientists had missed. It's singing, he told his AI partner Harmony. The barrier is creating a specific frequency. It's like a giant musical note being played across the entire solar system. Marcus worked for days, translating the barrier's frequency into music that human ears could hear. What he discovered changed everything. Every structure vibrates at a specific frequency, he explained to the Emergency Science Council. If you can create the exact opposite frequency and play it at the same volume, the two sounds cancel each other out. It's called destructive interference. Dr. Vasquez understood immediately. You're saying we can shatter the barrier by playing the right note? Exactly, Marcus replied. But it would need to be incredibly loud and perfectly timed across the entire solar system. The plan that emerged was audacious even by human standards. They would convert Earth's entire satellite network, all the lunar installations, the Mars orbital platforms, and every major space station into components of a massive resonance array. Dr. Sarah Chen Okafor was put in charge of coordinating the technical aspects. Working with AI partners and enhanced humans across the solar system, she began the largest engineering project in human history. We need every radio telescope, every communication satellite, every power station in the solar system working together, she explained to the project teams. They all need to produce the exact same frequency at exactly the same time. The work was incredible. On Earth, technicians modified satellites and ground-based transmitters. On Mars, engineers retrofitted the terraforming equipment to act as signal boosters. In the asteroid belt, mining stations were converted into relay points. But the most important part of the plan required human crews to get dangerously close to the barrier itself. Volunteers piloted small, fast ships to the edge of the solar system, carrying equipment that would amplify the signal right where it was needed most. Sarah volunteered to lead the most dangerous mission, a direct approach to the largest generator. Her ship, the Breakthrough, was equipped with the most powerful signal amplifier humans had ever built. As the countdown began, humans across the solar system held their breath. This was their one chance. If the plan failed, they might never get another opportunity to escape their cosmic prison. All stations report ready, Sarah announced from her position near the barrier. AI partners confirmed synchronization at 99.7% accuracy. Marcus Rivera, conducting the operation like a symphony, made the final checks. Frequency locked. Amplitude calculated. All systems showing green. Dr. Vasquez gave the final order from Earth. For humanity's future, for our children's right to explore the stars, activate the resonance array. Across the solar system, thousands of transmitters activated simultaneously. Earth's satellites, Mars's orbital platforms, asteroid mining stations, and Jupiter's research facilities all began broadcasting the same frequency. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The invisible barrier around the solar system began to vibrate. Energy patterns that had been stable for 50 years started fluctuating wildly. Sarah, watching from her ship near the barrier, saw the massive generator structure begin to shake. "It's working," she shouted. "The generators are destabilizing." But something else was happening that no one had expected. The barrier wasn't just breaking. It was sending feedback signals back through whatever network had created it. On the monitoring stations hidden around the solar system, alien technicians watched in horror as their equipment overloaded. Warning signals flashed as the feedback from the collapsing barrier traveled through their communication networks. The humans had done more than break their prison. They had found the weak point in an ancient system that connected civilizations across the galaxy. As the barrier continued to collapse, Sarah prepared her ship for humanity's first journey beyond the solar system in 50 years. Behind her, thousands of other human ships were already launching, ready to explore the galaxy that had kept them prisoner. All ships, this is Dr. Chen Okafor, she broadcast to the growing fleet. The cage is broken. Let's go see who built it and ask them why they thought they could keep humanity contained. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human expansion was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The feedback pulse from the collapsing barrier raced through the galaxy faster than light, following the ancient network of wormhole gates that connected the Galactic Council's empire. On Nexus Prime, Counselor Vexithera watched in horror as her monitoring stations went dark one by one. Emergency report from Generator Station 7. Dr. Kethamol shouted across the command center. Complete power overload. The humans have somehow created destructive interference with our containment field. But even as she spoke, the situation was getting much worse. The 12 massive generators surrounding Earth's solar system weren't just failing. They were exploding with the force of supernovas, and each explosion sent devastating energy pulses through the wormhole network. Vexithera's communication console lit up with urgent messages from across the galaxy. The first came from the Ethereal Dominion's capital world. Nexus Prime, this is Crystal City Control. Our primary power grid is failing. We're losing gravity control in the upper spires. Millions of our people are floating helplessly. More messages followed in rapid succession. The Siveron Collective reported that their hive mind networks were breaking down as communication satellites lost power. The Mechanist Union's automated factory worlds were shutting down as their central processing cores overloaded. Dr. Kethamol worked frantically at her control station, trying to understand what was happening. The generators were connected to our main power grid, she explained to Vexithara. When they overloaded, they sent feedback through the entire wormhole network. How is that possible? Vexithara demanded. The network has safety systems. The safety systems were designed to handle normal power fluctuations, Kethamol replied. Not the complete destruction of 12 Genesis-class generators simultaneously. The humans created an overload pattern we never imagined possible. On the main display, a galaxy-wide map showed the cascade of failures spreading outward from Earth's solar system like ripples in a pond. Each wormhole gate that lost power disconnected entire star systems from the galactic network. The crystalline Unity's homeworld was the first major civilization to go completely dark. Their crystal cities, which had glowed for thousands of years, suddenly went silent as their power cores drained. Counselor Morthan's final message came through just as his world lost all power. This is Crystal City. We are losing all energy systems. Our people are entering emergency hibernation. The humans. What have they done to us? But the worst was yet to come. As the power grid collapsed, the artificial stability that held the Council's empire together began to fail. Worlds that had depended on imported food and resources suddenly found themselves cut off. Space stations lost life support. Entire civilizations that had forgotten how to survive independently faced extinction. Meanwhile, human ships poured out of the Sol system like water from a broken dam. Dr. Sarah Chen Okafor's ship, the Breakthrough, led the way into the unknown galaxy. Sarah, I'm detecting massive energy signatures ahead, her AI partner Marcus reported. Multiple artificial structures, some the size of planets. Sarah could see them now on her screens. The wormhole gates that had connected the galaxy for millennia, now dark and powerless. Around them floated disabled space stations and ships, their occupants trapped as their systems failed. My God, Sarah whispered. There's an entire galactic civilization out here and it's collapsing. Her long-range sensors detected dozens of different alien species, all of them now stranded as their transportation network failed. Some were trying to repair their ships with primitive backup systems. Others were sending desperate distress signals. Captain Elena Vasquez, commanding the exploration ship Adaptable Response, intercepted one of the distress signals. Her enhanced brain, working with her AI partner Phoenix, quickly translated the alien language. This is Medical Station Kepler 7, the message said. We have 10,000 patients in critical condition. Our life support will fail in 6 hours. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help. Elena didn't hesitate. All ships, this is Captain Vasquez. We have civilian populations in distress. I know we didn't cause this crisis directly, but we're the only ones in this sector with working ships and power systems. The response from the human fleet was immediate and unanimous. Ships changed course to provide assistance to the stranded aliens. Human engineering teams, working with their AI partners, began developing solutions to problems they had never seen before. The first contact between humans and galactic civilization happened not through diplomacy or warfare, but through rescue operations. Dr. Sarah Chen Okafor docked her ship with the medical station that Elena had identified. Her team of enhanced humans, equipped with portable life support and universal translators, boarded the alien facility. The aliens they found were unlike anything humans had imagined. Some looked like giant jellyfish floating in tanks of liquid. Others were insect-like creatures with multiple arms and eyes. But all of them were desperate and grateful for human help. Your power systems, the station's chief medical officer, a creature that looked like a walking tree, explained to Sarah. They work differently from ours. How are your ships still functioning when everything else has failed? Sarah's AI partner Marcus provided a quick analysis. Their technology depends on centralized power distribution through the wormhole network. When that failed, they lost everything. Our systems are designed to be independent and self-sustaining. It was the first of many discoveries that would reshape both species' understanding of technology and civilization. While human rescue teams worked to save alien civilians, the remaining members of the Galactic Council tried desperately to restore their empire's power grid, but they quickly realized the scope of the disaster. Counselor Vexithera, Dr. Kethamal reported from what remained of the monitoring station, I have calculated the extent of the damage. 70% of our wormhole gates are offline. Half of our member worlds have lost primary power. The infrastructure damage will take decades to repair. Vexithara stared at the reports in disbelief. A civilization that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years was collapsing in a matter of hours. And it was all because they had tried to contain one primitive species. How many of our people are at risk? She asked quietly. Billions, Kethamal replied. Maybe trillions. Most of our worlds depend on the central power grid for basic life support. Without it, she didn't need to finish the sentence. Vexithara could see the projections on her screen. Within days, entire civilizations would begin dying as their artificial environments failed. But even as the Council's empire crumbled, something unexpected was happening throughout the galaxy. Human ships were arriving at disabled alien outposts and colonies, offering aid and assistance. Captain Elena Vasquez contacted the remnants of the Galactic Council directly. This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the human ship Adaptable Response. We know you're responsible for imprisoning our species, but we're willing to discuss that later. Right now you have billions of people who need help, and we have ships and power systems that work. Vexithara stared at the communication in amazement. The humans weren't attacking or demanding revenge. They were offering to help the very civilization that had kept them prisoner. Why? She asked Elena directly. Why would you help us after what we did to you? Elena's response was simple and profound. Because that's what humans do. We help people who need help, even if they were our enemies. Besides, we're going to have to share this galaxy now. We might as well start by making sure everyone survives. As human rescue operations expanded across the galaxy, Vexithara began to understand the magnitude of the Council's mistake. They had not contained a dangerous species. They had isolated the one species that could have helped them build a better galactic civilization. The cascade failure that destroyed the Council's empire was not just a technological disaster. It was the end of an old way of thinking about power, control, and civilization itself. And in the ruins of that old empire, something new was being born. A partnership between human adaptability and alien knowledge that would reshape the galaxy forever. 6 months after the Great Cascade failure, the galaxy looked nothing like it had before. The old Galactic Council was gone, its rigid hierarchy replaced by something completely new. Captain Elena Vasquez stood in the main assembly hall of what was once Nexus Prime, now renamed Unity Station, preparing to address the first meeting of the new Galactic Assembly. The hall was filled with representatives from dozens of species, some who had been powerful council members, others who had been ignored by the old government. But the most remarkable thing was how they were all working together, human and alien, sharing ideas and technology in ways the galaxy had never seen. 6 months ago, our species were strangers, Elena began, her words being translated simultaneously into 50 different languages by human-designed AI systems. Some of you saw us as a threat to be contained. We saw you as jailers keeping us from our destiny among the stars." She paused, looking around the hall at the diverse collection of beings who had once feared each other. "Today, we are partners in the greatest adventure any of our species has ever known, building a galactic civilization based on cooperation instead of control." The transformation had not been easy. In the weeks following the Cascade failure, billions of aliens had faced starvation and death as their centralized systems collapsed. But humanity's response had amazed everyone, including themselves. Human ships had spread across the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as helpers. They brought portable fusion reactors to power failing life support systems. They shared food production technology with worlds facing famine. Most importantly, they brought a completely different way of thinking about problems. Dr. Sarah Chen Okafor, now serving as the Chief Technology Coordinator for the Assembly, had worked with alien scientists to rebuild the galaxy's infrastructure, but instead of recreating the old centralized system, they built something new. The old wormhole network was like a spider web, she explained to a mixed group of human and alien engineers. Cut one strand and the whole thing falls apart. We're building a neural network instead. Thousands of small connections that can route around any damage. The new network used human adaptive technology combined with alien knowledge that was thousands of years old. Ships could create temporary wormholes using compact generators. Planets could communicate through quantum entanglement arrays that couldn't be disrupted by power failures. Most importantly, every part of the system could work independently if needed. Dr. Kethamol, the former council scientist, had become one of humanity's strongest allies. Working with human researchers, she made discoveries that neither species could have achieved alone. "Look at this," she showed Elena a holographic display of human and Siveran DNA. "When we combine human genetic adaptability with Siveran collective consciousness, we can create beings who can survive in any environment while staying connected to their communities." The new hybrids were already exploring the most dangerous parts of the galaxy: the cores of stars, the event horizons of black holes, the spaces between dimensions. They were part human, part alien, and completely new. But the most important changes were happening in how the different species thought about each other. The old council had been based on fear of change, fear of chaos, fear of losing control. The new assembly was based on curiosity and cooperation. Former Councillor Vexathara, now serving as a cultural liaison, had spent months learning about human psychology and society. What she discovered changed her completely. "I was wrong about humans," she admitted to Elena during one of their regular meetings. "I thought their unpredictability made them dangerous. I didn't understand that their ability to adapt and change is what makes them valuable partners." She showed Elena data about the galaxy's recovery rate. Worlds that accept human assistance are rebuilding 3 times faster than those that refuse it. Not because human technology is superior, but because humans teach others to solve problems in new ways. The evidence was everywhere. The crystalline unity had learned to grow their cities organically, instead of building them in rigid patterns. The Mechanist Union had developed AI that could create and innovate, instead of just following programs. The Siveran Collective had split into smaller, more flexible groups while maintaining their mental connections. Marcus Rivera, the composer who had helped break the barriers around Earth, had become something unexpected: the galaxy's first interspecies cultural ambassador. His music, which combined human creativity with alien mathematical principles, was bringing different species together in ways language never could. "Music is mathematics that makes you feel something," he explained to a group of young aliens and humans learning together in one of the new integrated schools. "When we make music together, we learn to think and feel together." The schools themselves were revolutionary. Instead of each species learning separately, human and alien children studied together, their different ways of thinking making all of them smarter. Human creativity combined with alien logic. Alien patience combined with human curiosity. Captain Elena Vasquez had been elected as the first president of the Galactic Assembly, not because humans dominated the organization, but because her species had proven they could lead through service rather than control. The old council ruled through fear. She told the assembled representatives during her acceptance speech. They maintained order by preventing change. "We will maintain peace by embracing change, by helping each other grow and adapt. The new galactic government had no central capital, no supreme leader, no rigid hierarchy. Instead, it was a network of cooperating worlds, each contributing their strengths while maintaining their independence. Earth had become a center of learning and innovation, but not through conquest. Species from across the galaxy sent their young people to study human adaptability and creativity. In return, humans learned alien sciences and philosophies that expanded their understanding of the universe. Dr. Sarah Chen Okafor stood in her laboratory on Unity Station, working with a team that included humans, Sivarans, ethereals, and 3 other species. They were designing the next generation of interstellar ships, vessels that could adapt to any environment, powered by fusion reactors guided by hybrid AI, and crewed by mixed species teams. The old ships were built for specific purposes, she explained to her diverse team. Exploration ships, military ships, cargo ships. Our new ships will be able to transform themselves for any mission. They'll grow and change like living things. The prototype ship called Harmony was already being tested. It could reshape its hull for different types of space travel, convert its interior for any kind of mission, and even split into smaller ships if needed. Most importantly, it was designed to be operated by crews from multiple species working together. But perhaps the greatest change was in how the galaxy thought about the future. The old council had tried to preserve the status quo, to prevent change and maintain stability. The new assembly embraced change as the source of growth and improvement. Former councillor Vexithara, now working as a historian, had written the definitive account of the transformation. Her conclusion surprised even her. "We thought we were protecting the galaxy from a dangerous species," she wrote. "In reality, we were protecting ourselves from the change we needed to grow." Humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy was not their technology or their adaptability. It was their belief that the future could be better than the past. As Elena looked out from Unity Station at the ships coming and going, human vessels working alongside alien craft, mixed crews heading to explore new worlds, young beings of multiple species learning together, she smiled. The galaxy that had once tried to contain humanity had been transformed by them instead. Not through conquest or force, but through the simple human belief that cooperation was stronger than control, that diversity was more valuable than uniformity, and that the best way to face an uncertain future was together. The age of isolation was over. The age of unity had begun, and in this new galaxy, no species would ever be contained or controlled again. They would all be free to grow, change, and explore the infinite possibilities of the universe together.